Okay guys, I'm back, it's Badger, and I've got something a little different for you guys. A little bit of a gameplay video, but more of a learning experience when it comes to survival games. In a survival game, there's an old saying in poker, you gotta know when to hold and know when to fold them. And in doing so, it basically means you've got to know when the risk is outweighing the reward, and when the reward of doing something is going to outweigh the risk of it. Now, in this video, I'm going to have a moment where, sitting around, I end up getting shot in the back of the head by a dude with a weapon. He's basically going to take me out. And I'm just, like really just minding my own business, doing my own thing. And ultimately, I end up making a very noobish mistake, and that is I played PvE for a while and I got kind of soft. And I just stood in one spot. In Ark, its movement is key. You've got to constantly be moving. However, I do end up afterward and redeem myself all in the same minute. I go back to get revenge on this dude, and I take with me the weaponry needed to exact revenge. That pales in comparison, but I do run into a guy who has way more firepower than I do. He has way more ammunition, and he's not the dude that I'm after, but the reward of going after him and taking initiative, because I have nothing to lose at that point, ends up netting me a very nice, effective reward that I think probably pissed him off really good. So let's take a look at that right now. So yeah, basically here's the lowdown. I'm on the beach. I've got my boat ready. I like to use a boat in maps where I have an ocean to play with. It's the best option instead of having to tame a bunch of stuff. Plus, this is a no tame server anyway. I can't actually use any tames. Now, as I'm operating here, the thing that I'm after the most of is hide. I need it to replace a lot of my equipment because my boat got broke into. And I'm just running around taking my pot shots at dinos, killing things at random. And as it turns out, I make a very noobish mistake. And what mistake is that? Well, like I said before, I ended up sitting still too much. Now, here's the thing about being a still target. In the Air Force, they say don't fly in a straight line. Because if you're flying in a straight line, all that person has to do is line up with you, going the same direction you are. Speed up, and just pelt you with fire. As the bullets hit your plane, you are going to go down. Eventually, you will. So you're basically a sitting duck when you sit in a straight line. In Ark, if you stand still for an extended period of time, you are going to be a sitting duck. Now, here in just a minute, I'm going to kill this dodo, and you're going to see what I do. I'm already didn't even get to kill the dodo, and this guy got me. And if you look at that, let's just show you a bit of an instant replay here. Now, my crime here, I stood still for too long. If you stand still, you are a target. And obviously, someone got a sight on me. Next thing you know, sniper round hits me right in the face. Now, as you can see, that was kind of a dumb way to go down. But I start to redeem myself. I decided I'm going to try and go back. Now, the dude that I was going to get was level 74, and I intended on taking him down. However, I don't end up getting him. I do end up almost getting jumped a second time. And this is where staying mobile, taking the initiative, in other words, risk-reward. It's better for me to move and aggressively attack than to sit still and do nothing and wait for him to move. Sometimes it's better to launch an offense, because if you're offensive, your enemy has to then think defensively. Now, there's a key piece of technology that I pick up here, and that is I decide while I'm watching this guy, because I realize I can only make one arrow. Only once. A Hail Mary pass. You can see this guy running across the screen up here at the top right. I know I can't take him on, but there's a unique factor with the narco arrows. Narco arrows will knock any opponent out almost instantaneously, and most people don't really mess with their fortitude on the center and island maps, because unlike Scorched Earth, there's no real reason to do it. It's just not going to help you out in the long run when you can get fur armor and everything else and be able to operate. Now, what I do here, like I said, I realize right here that I can make only one arrow. So I'm sitting here thinking about it real quickly, and I realize that if I make one arrow, I'm going to be fighting a battle with a single shot. So I got to make this shot count. So what do? I make my arrow, but then I realize, wait, there is a way I can make my shot count. I can get a narco arrow. Now I've got the narco berries, I've got the meat. I decide, all right, let's make a narcotic before our berries go out. If I can make this, I'm golden. If I can get that one shot on my opponent, I can take him completely out. Now, here's where things get really interesting, because like I said before, a narco arrow will knock you out almost instantly. And if you're going to get in those situations where your ammo is limited, narco arrows are probably really good to have. If you have a moment of, like I said, if you have a moment of limited ammo, the narco arrow is a great option, because it doesn't matter how big your opponent is. Even if your opponent has ascendant level flak armor, or even high level armor, if you manage to tag him with that arrow, you are going to knock him out. He is going to go down. And at that point, let me tell you something. If you're knocked out, you are a sitting duck on Ark. So let's get back in here and I'll show you what happens after I implement this one-shot narco arrow and show you what initiative can do. So, as I was stating before, I go out to hunt my ultimate prey, which is another player. However, another Bambi comes up, and this is where you have to make a decision in these types of instances. And I make the right one at this point. Another player comes up who's slightly lower level, but has had more time to train. I don't know. They may have actually been in the same tribe. He may have been trying to find his buddy. Or he may have been part of another dude and they could be talking in chat and just not joined up, so people would think that they're not in the same tribe. Some people will do that, so they can have a backup plan for their when they're playing in case the worst should happen. In this instance, I decided to hide out inside of a little crevice here and wait for this guy to go by. My plan is to wait till he passes, come up behind him, shoot him in the back with a narco arrow. While he's trying to figure out where he's been shot from, let the narcotic take effect. Let him have his little high. Take his gun when he wakes up. He's bare naked and missing a kidney in an ice bath. However, that doesn't happen. Watch the far left of the screen over here. When I back up, you're going to see this other player has walked up and suddenly realizes we both know that each other is there. He almost sneaks up on me because I stay. There he is, right there. You see him move. He's right behind that crevice, peeking at me like a little pervert. Well, I decide I don't like perverts. So I'm just going to rush in, and I'm going to bum rush his butt right here and now. Tag him with one arrow. Watch and learn, folks. Hail Mary, here we come. Nice try, dude. What? And there we go. Narco arrow takes almost instant effect. Badger implements the narco arrow, and it is super effective. Yeah, he goes down, I run, I book as hard as I can back to my base. Why am I running like a little bitch? Because I have an entire inventory full of new stuff. I've got a new bed, I've got arrows, I've got another bow, I've got more tools, stuff I didn't build, stuff I was trying to get. I now have it, and I'm trying to get back to my boat so I can start putting this stuff in place. My boat is my safe haven, and unlike before, I ended up screwing myself by not going to my boat and staying mobile at all times. Now, I think he either gets up or someone sees me running across the beach and they come over to check out the boat. No one says anything, but I managed to get inside. My boat's a little hard to get into at this point in stage of the game because I haven't put a ramp on the side of it. But as soon as I get in, I jump in the driver's seat. Now, the cool thing about a driver's seat is you can periscope this. Now, I'm periscoping and I see this dude jump on my boat. First thing I do is I run past that one raft, because if you clip something with another player, it'll drag them right off. If you got an ally inside your boat, you can literally shove them outside of the boat if you run them right into the edge of the map. I've had guys try to glitch in, and when they would glitch, I would just turn the boat in and just get the boat to catch them and just push them right out. And the barrier on the outside of the game would actually push a guy who glitched in my boat, just shove him right back out of the boat. And oh man, you're talking about getting pissed off. But yeah, that right there, that is what you should do and what you shouldn't do. What you shouldn't do as Ark is get complacent, okay? Know that you are always under fire. You got to try and imagine yourself as a Japanese soldier after World War II, 20 years after World War II, who still thinks that the war is still going on. You got to be tactical, ruthless, take people down. If they try to be your friend, be their friend, but most often than not, I try to just be friends with people I know. But hey, that's the nature of Ark. And if you're going to end up in a situation where you're vastly outnumbered or vastly inferior, always take the initiative, because the next time these guys see you, They may the first time have the advantage, but I guarantee that player sees me next time, he's going to be thinking in the back of his head, the last time me and Badger got into it, Badger won. And that psychological warfare of taking the initiative when it's necessary. Now normally, if I had a lot of gear on me, I wouldn't have made that attack. I would have probably just tagged him and run. Or I would have probably run up and just smacked him with the bow real quick as I ran by and see if I couldn't just outrun him and jump in the water or whatnot, mess him over real quick. But hey, such is the nature of Ark, folks. As always, this is Badgerwild. And just letting you guys know, if you like the video, please like and follow, subscribe and upvote. I know that's kind of a lot of stuff. Actually, just subscribe and follow if you're on Vimeo or YouTube, and then like and upvote in accordance. Anyway, this is Badgerwild. Don't play hard, play smart, and I will see you guys next time on Ark Survival Evolved, baby.